The sky over Busan burned orange as the alien ships descended like metal vultures. Park Jin-ho pressed his back against the concrete wall of the subway tunnel, watching through a crack in the rubble as purple energy beams turned buildings into ash. 3 months had passed since first contact and Earth was dying. The Galactic Confederation had arrived with no warning. Their message was simple: surrender or be destroyed. Most governments had tried to negotiate. It made no difference. The aliens wanted Earth's resources and viewed humans as nothing more than useful animals. Jin-ho clutched his broken phone, remembering the last news broadcast before the satellites went dark. The reporter had called it an invasion, but that word felt too small. This was extermination with a schedule. "How many more coming?" whispered Lee Minji from beside him. She still wore her hospital scrubs, though they were now torn and stained with dust. Her medical bag contained what little supplies she had managed to grab before the clinic was bombed. Jin-ho squinted through his makeshift periscope, a mirror tied to a broken antenna. "Too many to count. They just keep coming." The Frex soldiers moved through the streets above them, their 6 legs clicking against the pavement like giant insects. They herded the surviving humans toward large metal containers that served as temporary holding pens. Those who resisted were shot on sight. Those who cooperated were processed like cattle. Kim Subin crawled through the tunnel toward them, his army uniform barely recognizable under the grime. The former sergeant had been organizing survivor groups across the city. Though he never called it resistance, the word felt too hopeful. "The main force is pulling out," he reported quietly. "Leaving, maybe 30 soldiers to watch the whole district. They think we are finished," Minji said, her voice hollow. Jin-ho picked up a piece of alien technology that had fallen through the rubble, some kind of scanner device. The metal was warm to the touch and covered in symbols that looked like twisted mathematics. He had been an engineer before the war, back when such things mattered. Now he spent his time trying to understand the machines that were killing his species. "Maybe being finished is not so bad," he said, turning the device over in his hands. "Maybe they stop watching us if they think we cannot fight back." The Confederation controlled 17 different species across dozens of worlds. Earth was just their newest conquest, barely worth their attention. Humans were classified as primitive, emotional, and useful only for manual labor. The occupation forces had sent their reports back to headquarters. Complete victory achieved, minimal resistance expected. What they did not see was Jin-ho studying their scanner in the dark. They did not notice Minji learning alien anatomy from the bodies of their soldiers. They missed Subin mapping their patrol routes and counting their weapons. The aliens had broken Earth's armies, destroyed its cities, and scattered its people. They had won the war in less than 6 months, just as their tactical computers had predicted. But winning a war and ending a war were 2 different things. Above them, a Varex patrol passed over the tunnel entrance. Jin-ho held his breath as their heavy footsteps echoed through the concrete. When the sounds faded, he returned to examining the alien device. "What are you doing?" Minji asked. "Learning," Jin-ho replied. "They make their machines too similar. Same power source, same connection points. If you understand one piece, you can understand all pieces." Subin nodded slowly. "They never fought enemies like us before. They use big ships and powerful weapons to destroy everything at once. They do not know how to fight people who hide and adapt." The Confederation had grown comfortable after thousands of years of easy victories. They fought wars through overwhelming force, not careful strategy. They had never encountered an enemy that studied their weaknesses and turned their own tools against them. In the distance, another building collapsed as alien mining equipment stripped away its foundation. Earth's resources were being harvested at an incredible rate. The oceans were being processed for rare minerals. The atmosphere was being gradually modified to better suit Confederation biology. Humanity had perhaps 2 years before the planet became uninhabitable for its original inhabitants. The aliens had not hidden this timeline. They saw no reason to. The primitive humans would be dead or relocated long before it mattered. "We need to find others," Subin said finally. "People who know how to build things, how to fight, how to survive." "There are more," Minji confirmed. I have been treating wounded people from other groups. They come through the tunnels at night. Jinho continued working on the scanner, his fingers tracing the alien circuits. Slowly, very slowly, he was beginning to understand how it functioned. The technology was advanced but not incomprehensible. It followed patterns, just like human technology but with different rules. They think we stay broken, he said quietly. But broken things can be fixed. Sometimes they become stronger than before. Outside, the alien ships continued their methodical destruction of everything humans had built. The Confederation believed they had crushed another primitive species, added another world to their empire, and moved one step closer to total galactic dominance. They were wrong about many things. Most importantly, they were wrong about what it meant to break humanity. Scattered, desperate, and seemingly defeated, the survivors began to do what humans had always done best. They adapted, they learned, and they planned their revenge. 3. War was over. The rebellion was just beginning. 200 meters beneath the ruins of Busan, Dr. Han Yuna had built something impossible. Using pieces of broken alien machines and human determination, she had created a working laboratory in what used to be a subway maintenance tunnel. The power flows through here, she explained to her small team, pointing at a crude drawing on the concrete wall. Their energy systems work the same way on every machine. They made everything to fit together perfectly. Cho Hyun, who had been studying computer science before the invasion, carefully connected alien wires to a human battery pack. If all their machines use the same parts, then they all have the same weak spots too. Exactly. Yuna smiled for the first time in months. We just need to find those weak spots. The underground laboratory was one of dozens of hidden bases that had grown beneath South Korea's destroyed cities. What had started as desperate survival shelters had become something more organized. The aliens above ground reported occasional problems, missing supply trucks, broken communication towers, dead guards found in the morning. The Confederation forces called these minor terrorist activities in their reports to headquarters. They did not understand that every attack was planned, every theft had a purpose, and every dead alien taught humanity something new about how to kill more of them. Park Jinho had become the unofficial leader of the Seoul Resistance Cell. His modified alien scanners could now intercept basic Confederation communications and coordinate between different groups across the peninsula. He sat in his own underground workshop, surrounded by hybrid devices that should not have worked but somehow did. The patrol schedule changed again, he reported through his improvised radio network. They are getting nervous about something. 300 kilometers away, Kim Subin was training fighters in an abandoned mine shaft. The former sergeant had learned that conventional military tactics were useless against the aliens' superior technology. Instead, he taught hit-and-run attacks, sabotage techniques, and psychological warfare designed to break enemy morale. They think like machines, he told his students as they practiced with weapons made from alien components and human creativity. Predictable, systematic, logical. We think like humans, messy, emotional, and very, very angry. The alien occupation forces had been designed to suppress organized resistance from defeated governments and military units. They had no experience fighting an enemy that operated like a virus, spreading through hidden networks and adapting to every countermeasure. Lee Minji had established a chain of medical stations throughout the underground network. She treated wounded fighters while also studying alien biology from captured soldiers. Her makeshift autopsy reports revealed important weaknesses in Confederation physiology that could be exploited. They are stronger than us, she noted in one report. But their bodies cannot handle certain human diseases. Their immune systems have never encountered Earth bacteria. This discovery led to the development of biological weapons that could incapacitate alien soldiers without killing them. Dead aliens were investigated. Sick aliens were simply replaced and forgotten. In her laboratory, Yuna had made another breakthrough. By combining alien energy cells with human electronics, she could create devices that confused Confederation sensors. A simple explosive wrapped in their own force field generators could penetrate their armor. A radio enhanced with their quantum processors could hack into their communication networks. Look at this, she said excitedly, showing Hyun a device that looked like a smartphone crossed with alien technology. It can make our fighters invisible to their scanning equipment. The hybrid technology was crude and often unreliable, but it gave humanity something they had never possessed before: the ability to fight aliens with their own tools. More importantly, it proved that Confederation technology was not magical or incomprehensible. It was just advanced engineering that could be understood, copied, and improved upon. Jinho's intelligence network had grown to include contacts in 12 different cities. The aliens had no idea how extensive human underground communications had become. They monitored radio frequencies and internet traffic, but they could not detect the quantum encrypted messages flowing through their own captured equipment. "We have a problem," reported one of his contacts from Daegu. "Large alien ships are moving toward the coast. Looks like they are preparing for something big." The intelligence was confirmed by multiple sources. The Confederation was moving heavy equipment into position around Earth's major population centers. The purpose was unclear, but the scale suggested something more significant than routine occupation duties. Subin's fighters had begun coordinating attacks across multiple cities. Simultaneously, the aliens would respond to sabotage in Seoul only to discover that their installations in Busan and Daegu had also been hit at the same time. Their forces were spread too thin to effectively respond to multiple threats. "They are starting to request reinforcements," Minji reported after treating a wounded scout who had infiltrated an alien command post. "Their officers are sending worried messages to their superiors." What the occupation forces did not understand was that they were fighting an enemy that learned from every encounter. Every failed attack taught humanity something new about alien tactics. Every successful operation revealed more weaknesses to exploit. In the deepest tunnels beneath Seoul, resistance leaders from across the peninsula gathered for their first major coordination meeting. The scattered cells were becoming something larger, not quite an army, but no longer just desperate survivors. "We are ready for the next phase," Jinho announced, surrounded by hybrid technology that represented months of dangerous innovation. Time to show them what broken humans can really do. Above ground, the aliens continued their occupation, confident that Earth's primitive inhabitants had been permanently defeated. Below ground, humanity was learning to fight back with weapons their enemies had never imagined facing. The underground, war was about to become something much more dangerous. The breakthrough came on a cold morning when Park Jinho's hands were shaking from exhaustion. He had been working on the alien communication device for 72 hours straight, surviving on stolen energy bars and determination. When the machine finally crackled to life with voices speaking in alien languages, he almost could not believe it. "Kang Seonho, get over here now," he whispered urgently into his radio. The young man had taught himself to understand several alien languages by studying captured recordings and interrogating prisoners. If anyone could make sense of these transmissions, it was him. Seonho arrived within minutes, his eyes wide as he listened to the alien voices flowing through Jinho's modified equipment. "They are talking about something called final processing," he translated, his face growing pale. "Complete atmospheric conversion of Earth. Timeline is 14 months. The words hit Jinho like a physical blow. Atmospheric conversion meant making Earth's air unbreathable for humans while creating perfect conditions for alien colonization. Every person on the planet would die in the process. "Are you certain?" Jinho asked, though he already knew the answer. From Seonho's expression, "Very certain. They are moving massive machines into orbit right now. The processing will begin soon." But as they listened to more transmissions, something else became clear. The Galactic Confederation was not as united as they pretended to be. Several alien species were complaining about their treatment by the ruling council. Some questioned why so many worlds needed to be destroyed for colonization. "The Althari are particularly angry," Seonho reported after hours of translation work. "Their homeworld was strip-mined 50 years ago. They have been forced to live on artificial stations ever since." Dr. Han Yuna arrived at Jinho's workshop as soon as she received the message. The discovery that humanity had less than 14 months to live had energized the entire resistance network. But the intelligence about Confederation internal problems had given her an idea. If these other species are unhappy with their leadership, maybe they would help us fight back, she suggested. We cannot win this war alone, but we might not have to. Using their access to the alien communication network, the Resistance began reaching out carefully to potential allies. The first response came from an Althari scientist who had been secretly monitoring human transmissions for months. His message was simple: we have been waiting for someone brave enough to start a rebellion. Within weeks, other voices joined the growing underground network. Species that had been conquered, exploited, or ignored by the Confederation leadership saw Earth's resistance as their opportunity for freedom. The human rebellion was becoming something much larger. Kim Subin received the intelligence reports in his mountain hideout, where he had been training the largest group of human fighters yet assembled. 300 men and women from across Korea had gathered to learn guerrilla warfare tactics from the former sergeant. We are not just fighting for Earth anymore, he told his assembled troops. We are fighting for dozens of worlds that want to be free. The alien allies provided crucial intelligence about Confederation military tactics, ship designs, and political weaknesses. They also confirmed what the humans had discovered through painful experience. The aliens were not prepared for asymmetric warfare against opponents who adapted quickly. Lee Minji had established a medical network that now treated wounded fighters from multiple species. Althari rebels would arrive through secret transport ships, receive treatment in her underground hospitals, and return to their missions with human-made biological weapons designed specifically for their physiology. Working with aliens feels strange, she admitted to Yuna during one of their coordination meetings. But these aliens want the same thing we want: freedom from oppression. The intelligence network revealed that Earth was not the Confederation's only target for atmospheric processing. 12 other inhabited worlds were scheduled for similar treatment over the next 5 years. The ruling council had decided that direct colonization was more efficient than managing conquered populations. This discovery sparked immediate uprisings on several worlds as species realized they were all marked for extinction. The Confederation found itself fighting rebellions across multiple star systems simultaneously. Exactly the kind of multi-front war their centralized command structure was not designed to handle. Jinho's modified equipment was now intercepting military communications from across the galaxy. The reports painted a picture of an empire under increasing stress. Supply lines were being attacked, colonial governors were requesting reinforcements, and some species were openly refusing orders from Confederation headquarters. Their military is designed to fight one war at a time against conventionally organized enemies, Sionho observed, while translating the latest batch of intercepted messages. They do not know how to handle coordinated rebellions using unconventional tactics. The atmospheric processors were already moving into position around Earth, massive machines the size of cities that would begin their deadly work within months. But the Resistance was no longer just trying to save one world. They were coordinating a galaxy-wide revolution that could bring down the entire Confederation. In hidden workshops across Korea, human engineers worked alongside alien allies to develop weapons that combined the best of multiple technologies. The hybrid devices were becoming more sophisticated and more deadly with each iteration. Time to take this fight beyond Earth, Jinho announced during a joint meeting with resistance leaders from 3 different species. The broken world was about to become the center of something the galaxy had never seen before, a rebellion that offered hope instead of just revenge. The awakening had begun, and it was spreading faster than the Confederation could contain it. The uprising began at exactly midnight across 17 worlds. On Earth, the Resistance had grown from underground cells into something that resembled a real army. Admiral Kim Subin, his battlefield promotion recognized by the New Earth Defense Council, stood on a hilltop overlooking Busan Harbor, watching alien patrol boats burn in the water below. Phase 1 complete, reported Captain Yoon Dae-hyun through the communication device. The former merchant sailor had taken command of humanity's first space-capable vessels, crude ships built from salvaged alien hulls in hidden shipyards beneath the Yellow Sea. All coastal installations neutralized. The hybrid weapons developed in underground workshops had proven devastatingly effective against unprepared Confederation forces. Alien soldiers found their armor penetrated by human bullets wrapped in stolen energy fields. Their vehicles stopped working when human computer viruses infected their control systems through their own communication networks. Their tactical computers cannot predict us, Subin explained to his officers as they prepared for the next wave of attacks. They are programmed to fight rational opponents who follow standard military procedures. We are emotional, unpredictable, and completely insane. In her expanded laboratory complex, Dr. Han Yuna watched the first human-built starship rise from its underwater construction facility. The vessel looked like a metal whale crossed with alien technology, ugly but functional. More importantly, it could travel between star systems and carry enough weapons to threaten Confederation installations. It is not pretty, she admitted to her engineering team, but it will fly and it will fight. The breakthrough that changed everything came when Park Jin-ho's cyber warfare team successfully infiltrated a Confederation dreadnought in orbit above Earth. Yeji, a computer specialist who had joined the resistance after her university was bombed, led the hacking operation from a bunker beneath Seoul. "We are inside their main computer," she reported excitedly, uploading the atmospheric processor footage now. The video they transmitted across the galaxy showed the massive machines being moved into position around Earth, with detailed explanations of how they would kill every human on the planet. The broadcast was transmitted in dozens of languages to worlds throughout Confederation space. "Look at what they plan for all of us," the message declared. "Earth today, your world tomorrow." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Species that had remained neutral suddenly began attacking Confederation installations on their own worlds. The empire that had seemed invincible for thousands of years began cracking under pressure from within. On the mining world of Kepler 442b, the enslaved Zephyrians rose up using weapons smuggled to them by human rebels. On the ocean planet of Proxima Centauri C, the aquatic nautiloids began sabotaging Confederation underwater facilities. Each successful rebellion inspired others to join the growing revolution. Captain Yoon's makeshift fleet launched its first interstellar mission 3 weeks after the global uprising began. His ships were slower and less advanced than standard Confederation vessels, but they had advantages that alien crews could not match. "We are not trying to win fair fights," he explained to his mixed human-alien crew as they approached their first target. "We are trying to win fights that the enemy does not understand how to fight." The tactics that emerged from these early space battles would later be studied in military academies across the galaxy. Human crews combined careful planning with split-second emotional decisions, creating combat patterns that alien tactical computers could not process or predict. Lee Minji had established field hospitals that treated wounded fighters from dozens of different species. Her medical teams had learned to work with alien biology, while also developing new treatments for injuries caused by hybrid weapons. "We are not just treating soldiers," she observed while working on an injured Althari pilot. "We are treating the wounded from a war for galactic freedom." The Confederation's response was swift, but poorly coordinated. They sent reinforcement fleets to multiple systems simultaneously, spreading their forces thin across dozens of battlefronts. Their commanders had been trained to handle single-planet rebellions, not galaxy-wide revolution. Jin-ho's intelligence network intercepted increasingly desperate communications from Confederation leadership. Their neat, orderly empire was dissolving into chaos as species after species chose rebellion over continued oppression. "They are requesting emergency powers from the Galactic Council," translated Kang Seonho during one of their daily briefings. "Several member species are refusing to provide additional troops." The most significant victory came when human hackers, working with Althari cyber warriors, successfully penetrated the Confederation's central command network on their capital world. The virus they uploaded began systematically shutting down automated systems across their entire military infrastructure. "Ships are going dead in space," reported Oyeji as she monitored the progress of their cyber attack. "Their weapon systems are shutting down, life support is failing, and navigation computers are crashing." Without their technological advantages, many Confederation species found themselves helpless against rebels who had learned to fight with creativity instead of superior equipment. Worlds that had been conquered centuries ago suddenly remembered what freedom felt like. The atmospheric processors above Earth continued their preparation for planetary sterilization, but now they were defended by only a fraction of their original escort fleet. The Confederation's forces were fighting desperate battles across dozens of star systems, unable to concentrate enough power to complete their final solution for the human problem. Admiral Subin stood in the command center of Earth's orbital defense platform, coordinating with rebel forces across the galaxy. The scattered resistance cells had become something the Confederation had never faced before, a unified rebellion that offered hope for a different kind of future. "All stations report ready," he announced as enemy reinforcements began arriving in the solar system. "Time to show them what broken worlds can do when they rise together." The largest fleet in galactic history descended on the Sol system like a metal storm. 3,000 Confederation warships, pulled from battles across 17 star systems, converged on Earth with one purpose: complete the atmospheric processing that would end humanity forever. Admiral Kim Subin stood in the command center of the orbital defense platform above Earth, watching the enemy formations approach on his screens. The platform itself was built from salvaged alien technology and human determination, a massive structure that bristled with hybrid weapons no Confederation tactician had ever seen before. "Final count?" he asked his communications officer. 3,047 enemy vessels," reported Oyeji from her cyber warfare station. "Every major ship class in their fleet." Captain Yoon Daehyun's voice crackled through the communicator from his flagship, a crude but deadly vessel that had been welded together in the hidden shipyards beneath Korea. "My fleet is ready. 200 ships from Earth, plus another 800 from our allies across the galaxy." The numbers were not encouraging. The Confederation still had superior technology, heavier armor, and more powerful weapons, but the defenders of Sol system had advantages that could not be measured in firepower statistics. "Remember," Subin announced to all defense stations, "they still think this is about who has the biggest guns. They do not understand that this is about who refuses to give up." The first wave of Confederation ships moved toward Earth's orbital defenses in perfect formation, their computers calculating optimal attack patterns based on thousands of years of military doctrine. What they encountered was unlike anything in their tactical databases. Human defenders launched kinetic kill vehicles, chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds by alien energy systems. Asteroids that had been hollowed out and filled with explosives drifted into enemy formations before detonating. Cyber viruses propagated through the Confederation's own communication networks, turning their automated systems against them. "Their lead squadron is breaking formation," reported Yoon as his ships engaged the enemy vanguard. "Their computers cannot process our attack patterns." The battle tactics developed by human crews during months of desperate fighting proved devastatingly effective against an enemy that had grown comfortable with predictable victories. Ships that had terrorized entire star systems found themselves outmaneuvered by crude human vessels that fought with desperate creativity. Dr. Han Yuna watched the battle from her laboratory complex, now converted into a command center for the most ambitious project of the war. The quantum virus she had spent months developing was ready for deployment, a piece of malicious code that could propagate through the Confederation's galaxy-spanning communication network. "Uploading now," she announced as her team activated the transmission array. "This should shut down their automated systems across multiple star systems." The virus spread through the Confederation's network like digital fire, systematically overriding safety protocols and shutting down critical systems. Ships that had been fighting effectively suddenly found themselves drifting helplessly in space as their computers crashed and their weapons went offline. Park Jin-ho coordinated the defense from his position in the rebuilt Seoul Command Center, his modified alien equipment now capable of intercepting and jamming enemy communications across the entire solar system. Around him, the resistance fighters who had started in underground bunkers now operated sophisticated battle stations. "Confederation, command ship is requesting emergency assistance," translated Kang Seonho as he monitored enemy transmissions. "They are reporting system failures across their entire fleet." The turning point came when Lee Minji's biological warfare team successfully deployed their latest creation, an airborne pathogen specifically designed to incapacitate Confederation troops without killing them. Transport ships filled with sick aliens began retreating from the battle zone, their crews too ill to continue fighting. Enemy reinforcements are pulling back, reported a scout ship pilot. Half their fleet is requesting immediate medical evacuation. But the most decisive moment came when the atmospheric processors themselves became targets. The massive machines that had been positioned to sterilize Earth were suddenly vulnerable, as their escort fleet struggled with system failures and biological contamination. Captain Yoon led a desperate assault on the largest processor, his ship, diving through enemy fire to deliver a payload of hybrid explosives directly into the machine's core. The explosion that followed lit up the night sky on Earth and sent debris streaming across the solar system. "Primary processor destroyed," he reported as his damaged ship limped away from the blast zone. "Beginning attack runs on the remaining units." The Confederation fleet, already weakened by cyber attacks and biological warfare, began to lose cohesion as their primary mission became impossible to complete. Without the atmospheric processors, their entire strategy for dealing with the human problem had failed. Admiral Subin watched enemy formations break apart as ship after ship either retreated or surrendered. The empire that had ruled the galaxy for millennia was dissolving before his eyes, not through superior firepower but through the collapse of their own systems. "Confederation flagship is broadcasting surrender terms," reported Oyeji in amazement. "They are requesting immediate ceasefire and withdrawal rights. The war ended not with Earth's destruction, but with the dissolution of the Confederation itself. Species that had been subjugated for centuries emerged as independent worlds, many choosing to join the new galactic alliance that Earth had helped create." 5 years later, Ambassador Lee Minji addressed the first meeting of the Galactic Assembly from the rebuilt city of Seoul. Behind her, construction crews from dozens of species worked together on ships that would carry their message of cooperation to distant stars. "We were broken," she said to the assembled representatives. "But we learned that broken things can be rebuilt stronger than before." The broken world had risen again, and it had lifted the entire galaxy with it.